गुड मॉर्निंग। मैं हूं आपका दोस्त मदन सिंह and I'm going to talk to you today on a very important topic as far as India is concerned. मैं आपके साथ बात करने वाला हूं about the foreign policy of India under Narendra Modi and the BJP government. 2014 में the BJP and Premier Modi came to power और अब 2025 हो गया है. 11 years have elapsed and one should be wondering whether India has gone forward or remained static or gone back. ये एक बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट है बिकॉज अभी एक 4 दिन की लड़ाई हुई पाकिस्तान के साथ which had no decisive result. और ये मैं बात ठीक कहता हूँ. हमारी बहुत सी प्रेस कह रही है कि we won the war. See, when you say won the war, it means कि आपने एनिमी को एनहिलेट कर दिया. ऐसी बात तो हुई नहीं बिकॉज पाकिस्तान जो है इस वॉर के बाद हैज बिकम स्ट्रॉन्गर. मिलिटरीली पाकिस्तान हैड ए टफ टाइम, ये मैं मानूंगा अगेंस्ट इंडिया, पर इंडिया ने ओवरऑल टोटल विक्ट्री नहीं अचीव की. और इस वॉर के बाद व्हाट हैज हैपेंड इज दैट पाकिस्तान अपीयर्स टू बी ऑन अ स्ट्रॉन्गर विकेट. एंड ये एक षड्यंत्र है, पार्ट ऑफ a plan of the Western powers in collusion between America and China. Now, when I say collusion between America and China, ये एक fact बात है because America is scared of China. That is number one. Donald Trump ने शोर बहुत मचाया that I'm going to have tariffs on China, this thing, that thing. But the moment China banned the rare earth minerals to America, Donald Trump was on his knees. Now I understand that Trump has announced he's signed the agreement for rare earth minerals with China. Now China की एक बात है कि they cannot tolerate India's rise anywhere. And India is playing into the Chinese hands also by a set of policies which don't lead anywhere. America has made a compromise with China and President Xi is going to meet Donald Trump. And Donald Trump ने एक और गेम भी खेली है. He has started pampering Pakistan. Well, it's American policy, जो करना चाहे they कर सकते हैं. But America is playing with the snakes. And if you remember, Hillary Clinton had told the Pakistanis that you have snakes in your backyard. But Pakistan doesn't seem to realize anything. At the same time, India has not been militarily able to crush Pakistan. That's also a fact. बहुत सी प्रेस कह रहे हैं कि इंडिया ने जीत ली लड़ाई, पाकिस्तान की इतने एयर बेसेस डिस्ट्रॉय कर दिए एंड ऑल दैट. पर ये सब ठीक है. इट डज नॉट मीन कि पाकिस्तान ने टेररिज्म एज ए पॉलिसी खत्म कर दी है. इनफैक्ट उनको इनकरेजमेंट मिल रही है बिकॉज दे आर गोइंग टू गेट $40 billion फ्रॉम द वर्ल्ड बैंक थैंक्स टू अमेरिका. चाइना ने भी उनको $3 billion दिए हैं. एशियन डेवलपमेंट बैंक हैज आल्सो गिवन द मनी. So Pakistan is having a lot of money coming in their coffers and they are going to utilize them to buy weapons and other things, paraphernalia to fight India. एक चीज एक्सेप्ट करिए, the world must accept that Pakistan has a hatred center for India. They cannot tolerate India at all. Basically, it's a religious war, irrespective of what Pakistan may say. And India has played into the Pakistani trap. Similarly, India has played into the Chinese trap. Now, China is really the odd man out in this entire region, but they are making overtures to America because they're very clever. They know America is the biggest power in the world, and they are now trying to have a settlement with America on rare earth minerals also and trade also. But with India, it's a different kettle of fish. I do not know what is going to be the future as far as India is concerned. पर मैं एक आपको इंटरव्यू देता हूँ ली युआन की, who was the ex-Prime Minister of Singapore, he had been interviewed and he was asked, can India ever catch up with China? His answer was no, and he gave two reasons for it, which are number one, the constitution of India, and number two, the Hindu religion. So these two factors, when they combine together, the chance that India will ever catch up to China is next to impossible, which is very sad because 47 May, India was much advanced, much ahead of China. We had aircraft factory, we had locomotive factory, steel plant, we were making cars, while in China not even a bicycle was being made. So these are all very, very sad occurrences which I have to tell you about. And the Indian leadership frittered not only away the entire Aksai Chin to China, gave it away, they also gave away the leadership, the Kashmir Valley, almost 40% of which was occupied by Pakistan. So the question is, where does Indian foreign policy go after this? In the last war, one thing which has come out is that India's friends are almost zero, and the one country backing India was Israel. That's all. Second was Afghanistan, and Afghanistan is a Taliban government which even India does not recognize. So we are friendless in the world as far as we are concerned, and we are compounding issues. Compounding issues means recently the French had asked that they be allowed to examine how the Rafale plane had crashed in India, and they were not given access to the vital data by India on the plea that it will affect the strategic might of India. I don't know how it is going to affect anything, because one must get to the bottom of why the air Rafale, which was supposed to be an invincible plane, has bitten the dust. I think the Rafale's picture is available in the press, which crashed in Haryana, and we do not know what happened to the pilot. There's no information, there's nothing, and neither has India said how many planes they have lost, and neither has India said how many planes of the Pakistani Air Force they destroyed. On the other hand, Pakistan is trumpeting that they have sent 7 Indian planes to the next world. That means they destroyed them, and it's a very sad state of affairs, because in war you have to build up a narrative, and the narrative was not built by India. Another thing which comes to my mind is that Donald Trump has really decided that he would not be friends with Modi. Now, why is that? There are so many factors. Modi's games have been exposed basically, and of course, China has also decided that so long as the Modi government is in power, they are not going to have any good relations with India. Now, there is a very complex situation, because what happens is, if a country is at a particular level and it wants to exercise its right by showing it that they are on a higher level, that is not acceptable to the world. India is at a particular level, and definitely below the big three, that is United States, Russia, and China. But at the same time, India wants to consider itself under Modi as an equal to these three countries, which is not possible, because we do not have the military might. And now, Pakistan, I think from next month, August onwards, is going to get 6 J-35 fifth generation fighters from China. India is nowhere in the picture, and after that, once they get those, the PAF will be superior to the Indian Air Force in terms of equipment. How good the J-35 in battle is, we'll have to wait and see. I don't think it's a very good plane, but that's my personal opinion. I have got no technical knowledge about the J-35. America has got a good plane, that is the F-35, which they like to give to India. Trump did make an announcement, but nothing has happened. And even if the plane starts coming, it will take 2 years to be inducted in the Indian Air Force. And Pakistan will have a 2-year head-on advantage over India. And Modi again, I'm afraid, during these 11 years, has not shown the leadership which was required to be shown. And the biggest problem is his lack of communication with the press. He cannot communicate with the press what is India's viewpoint, whether in abroad or whether in India, and maybe he's tongue-tied or I don't know what's his problem. And number two, bigger problem is that he is not perhaps able to make an equation with some of the world powers, that is the leaders of those world powers. He has a good friend with Trump during the first term, but he spoiled his copybook when, while going to America, not meeting Trump. And that is after Trump had made an announcement that my friend Modi is coming to America and he will meet me. And our good friend, that is the Indian Prime Minister, did not even make a telephone call to him. I think Trump has not forgotten that insult. He showed it by inviting the Chinese president for his ceremony, swearing in ceremony, didn't invite Modi, though Modi was hankering for an invitation with Jaishankar sitting in Washington. Now, the duo of Jaishankar and Modi, I think they are not the right people at the moment to lead India. This is my personal opinion. Jaishankar is totally silent on whatever the Americans keep doing. And he has gone on record and said that putting the Indian illegal immigrants in chains and fetters on their feet was as per American policy, and so we cannot comment on it. It's extremely silly because so many other countries made it plain to America that they would not tolerate such things about their immigrants who are not criminals. But India kept quiet about it, and India has been keeping quiet on all issues of America. I don't know what is the reason behind it. Donald Trump made an announcement that he had brought about the ceasefire between India and Pakistan. I have already said that in a way it was true because he did put pressure on Pakistan, and that is how the Pakistan DGMO, went and had a spoke with the Indian Director of Military Operations. But the question is, India has kept quiet. Either you appreciated Pakistan, thanked the United States for the ceasefire, and India didn't. And not only didn't, there was no counter to what. And then we had that sad spectacle of the Indian Prime Minister being called at the last moment for the G7 meeting, which is again something which was not the right way to accept. Either Modi, I think, should have shown some spunk and not gone for the meeting because he hasn't been called on time, given an invitation just about 15 days before the conference, while all other heads of states who were to attend the meeting have been called, given an invitation almost 2 months back. Now the question is, when Modi goes to the G7 meeting, what is he going to do there? It should not end up with another humiliation, because Trump is going to be there and he is going to say that he has brought about the ceasefire. And what is Narendra Modi going to say about it? Now there's so many things happening. Donald Trump, I think, has decided that he will put his eggs in the basket of Pakistan, basically because of a personal dislike of the Indian Prime Minister. That's the way I see it. And now for the parade, the American parade, which is going to be held on the 14th of this month, the self-styled Field Marshal Munir has been called there, has been invited. No Indian general or anybody has been invited. So this itself is a sign that America has decided to put its eggs in the Pakistan basket, forgetting that Pakistan is a very big ally of China. We do not know what the American policy is. I mean, basically it is to placate China somehow or the other, but it's not going to work out as far as America is concerned. See, it's a very complex situation which is happening in the world. And the fact of the matter is that India seems to be at the receiving end. During this war, Pakistan got help from Turkey, Azerbaijan, Iran, China. And India got help from nobody other than a statement by Israel, which is not enough. And as I repeatedly said, India missed the power of being a great, missed the bus for being a great power many years back. That is, in 1947, Pandit Nehru formulated a policy which was totally dependent on the West, and he was trying to show that he is a very even balanced, non-aligned, tried to make friends with Russia, which the Americans didn't like. And at that time, India missed the bus by not joining America in 1954 when they were offered the membership of the pacts against communism. And now Pakistan has been alive since 1954, and obviously the Americans have greater faith in Pakistan than they have with India. Pakistan, everybody is stating the Indian press that it's a failed state, Baluchistan is going to break away, and there's an internal insurrection in Pakistan led by the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. All this is very true, but it doesn't mean Pakistan is going to break away. And Pakistan can only break away in case the United States and China decide that, well, we want to break up Pakistan. It's not going to happen because Pakistan is being considered as a bulwark against India, the rise of India. And India has compounded its mistakes by its very, very poor leadership, which lacks strategic sense. And that has continued even now. Narendra Modi should have learned from the lessons of Pandit Nehru and gone about the whole thing in a different way. He had gone and told the Russian Prime Minister, the Russian President, that this is not the era of wars. Very true. It's a wonderful statement. But what did he gain out of it? By attacking Pakistan just after the Pahalgam massacre. This is what the West and most of the countries didn't understand. I have repeatedly said attacking Pakistan at that stage had no meaning because India anyway achieved nothing. They could not degrade Pakistan. They could not defeat Pakistan. To say that we had the upper hand is irrelevant. It's got no meaning. And at the same time, even the 7 terrorists who were involved in the Pahalgam massacre have not been caught. Not a single one. And the Kashmir Valley continues to simmer with a sentiment which is anti-India. What's India going to do about it? So my contention at that time also was to douse the flames in the valley, find out what's happening and see how you can finish the nexus between Pakistan and the terrorists in the valley. There is only one method, by a demographic change, but the Indian government doesn't think about it that way. On top of it, the 2% Hindu minority which was there in the valley has been expelled by the terrorists, and the Indian government was sitting on its haunches. That was the time when Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister. I don't think this man really understood what's happening. The dangerous situation which was being created. And that dangerous situation is going to be become something else. What happens if tomorrow the Security Council decides that there should be a plebiscite supervised by the United Nations in Kashmir? What is India going to do? As you know, India's clout in the Security Council is zero. Russia, your one ally, has backed away. And Pakistan, which was supposed to be a terrorist state, has been made the vice chairman, I think, of the terrorist committee by the Security Council. I mean, it's a bit of a joke. Here's a country which fomented terrorism, did so many things, and yet is made a vice chairman of the anti-terrorist committee. It's, preposterous. That's the word I can use. But then India has to live in this world. And live in this world is that India has got no friends at the moment. That is what I'm coming to. We had one friend in Russia, but Russia is involved in a war in Ukraine and they have not been able to win. Again, the same thing is there. I mean, to say that Russia has had the upper hand, they are bombing Kyiv, they are bombing Kharkiv, Odisha and all that, okay, good enough. But Ukraine is supported by NATO and they're fighting. And the fight is continuing for over 3 years. The Ukrainians have not thrown in the towel. And now Russia is saying that the reason the war is continuing is the involvement of NATO. I think Putin would have been very naive not to understand that NATO in any case would have intervened. In any case, and he should have factored the intervention of NATO in the Ukraine war. The net result is, gentlemen, I tell you that Russia is greatly weakened, and obviously India cannot side with the power which is weakened, which cannot oppose America at the same time has become dependent on China, and China is India's enemy. So it's a very precarious situation. Now, what is going to happen next? I think whatever will happen, it will only happen after the present leadership is changed. I do not know whether it's going to happen, but there is a need for a fresh leader to take over in India, because the present leadership, particularly in the Modi, has really burnt all the bridges. I mean, I don't know how he's going to go about it. Donald Trump is going to be in power for another 3.5 years. That's a long time. And with Canada, our relations are not honky-dory. Though the Canadians have called India for the G7 meeting, it does nothing. It means nothing at the moment. And now India is in a quandary because it doesn't know what to do with the Quad. It doesn't know what to do with the BRICS. Now, BRICS' cardinal aim is to have an alternative currency to the dollar. India is not wanting that because they're always kneeling before the Americans. They don't want to oppose America. Now, China can oppose America because of its military might. And it has brought America on to his knees. Let's be very frank. Donald Trump started a trade war, and now he's close to a trade treaty with China. But with India, we're still discussing. We don't know what's happening. You've got to be pragmatic and at that same time agree sometimes to the American demands. It's better to take one step back and then later 2 steps forward. But this is not what the Indians are doing. There's been no attempt to have the border solution done with China. How long can you keep this aggressive posture with China when China is militarily very strong? And the interview with Lee Kuan Yew, which I just mentioned sometime back earlier, you please go through it. There's a video on this on YouTube. You can see it, what he thinks about India's attempt to catch up with China. It's next to impossible. And we have compounded issues by dividing the Hindus. That is the biggest mistake which Modi has committed. India lost all the battles in world history because the Hindus were not united. And now again, the Hindu religion is being divided by a caste census. Why could Modi have the guts to have opposed Rahul Gandhi? Rahul Gandhi, as you know, he's not got the interest of India in his heart. His main aim is that he should be anointed as the king of India, prime minister again, and he will just trot around the stage. That's all. He's not interested in making India as a great power. Neither was Nehru. He was interested in making India a great power. He was only interested in his personal image. That I should get the Nobel Prize of Peace or something like that, and continue non-alignment, and ended up by losing thousands of square miles of territory, and then not agreeing for a peace treaty or a land treaty with China when China had offered. There's very complex situations here, but the fact remains that Indian leadership has failed the nation. We need someone like Bismarck, or maybe Frederick the Great, or maybe even Stalin. But we didn't have that sort of a man. We didn't even have a Churchill here. And we had people here, I think, whose horizon may not have been what really is required in the world. Well, gentlemen, India is in the throes of a very terrible situation at the moment. And India has to rise up like the phoenix, the bird which rose from its ashes. That should be the example for India. You have to do away with all such vociferous things like caste census and all that, and try to give jobs on caste basis and all that. Because any country which doesn't honor meritocracy and goes by devious things like giving jobs on caste basis and all that cannot be a world power, will never be. So India has to think about those lines. We'll see whether history throws up a leader who can lead India forward. But the present leadership, I'm afraid, has 11 years, and 11 years have gone away like a midsummer's night dream. Gentlemen, I hope you liked my video. These are rambling thoughts which came to my mind, and I thought I'll put them on celluloid. And please subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, and give your comments. I will close now and say goodbye, God bless, and Jai Hind.